Hey, seniors, how are you guys doing today? How are you doing today, Di?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Carrie?
I'm doing okay. For those of you who don't know us, well, you should know me. If you don't know me, that's a problem. But
If
anyway,
any of you don't know us, it's a problem,
it's a
quite
problem.
honestly.
Exactly. You know me because you've had me in class, but you know the infamous Diane
Infamous.
Christensen over
She's so
here, my
funny.
partner in crime. And we
Mm.
thought that we would show you your very first ever Not Live with Carrie and Diane, because you're going to have us for transition course coming up in the spring. And this is the format we like to do because we like to think we're funny and we're not. We like to have our own talk show, which we haven't gotten sponsored yet. So we pretend to practice on you guys until we make it someday.
That's right.
So that's what we're doing here.
That's
so
basically what we're doing.
Getting you set for the spring semester. But
maybe some of you guys watch Live with Kelly and Ryan. So we kind of took a little twist on that with Not Live with Carrie and Diane.
We are so clever.
We stole their logo and everything.
Borrowed it.
So
it's sign of flattery. Isn't that when you mimic someone? It's supposed to be a compliment. So
they're not coming after us
yet. They better not. We got
nothing to no lawsuits yet.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're still here with our jobs. But we thought we would talk to you a little bit about some of the changes with the NCLEX, because I know that you guys are so excited to be the very first class to get to see the new type of questions that you're going to experience. And do you know the date that they're going live with this?
I don't.
You don't?
I sure do not.
I'm seriously not kidding around. It's April 1st.
It is not.
What a bunch of jerks. Now, don't tell them. We know I'm
2023.
But 2023, April 1st. Like,
Son
April Fool Days, ha-ha.
Yeah.
But you'll still be in school, so we'll celebrate that together.
Yeah.
But seriously, April 1st, that was not, make it March 31st or something.
Serious.
That's just not nice.
Yeah.
They're just
There
jerks.
had to be something picking that day.
There did. They think they're funny, and they're not.
Not funny.
Exactly. We'll tell them that. So, we're going to show you. We're funny, gosh darn it. They're not. So we're going to show you a little bit of a preview of the type of questions that you will see, hopefully alleviate some of your fears and concerns that you have. So we hope you enjoy your show here. So getting started here. Maybe. Okay. We'll take a quick look at some of the changes that they're going to see in the design of the NCLEX. Now, you probably aren't super familiar with how things worked in the past, so we're not going to spend a lot of time comparing and contrasting things, but just letting you know, length of time. Can you read how long, Di?
I can. It still remains at 5 hours for today and for next gen. So
yes, 5 hours length of time. It's going to be computer adaptive testing, which you'll learn about in our in transitions course. You'll have anywhere from 85 to 150 questions.
Which is not much different from the 75 to 145.
Yep, and not all of them are even counted towards your grade. 15 of them are kind of like practice behind the scenes, getting ready for future editions of the NCLEX. So out of that, you'll have 15 of those, whatever amount of questions you get that aren't actually counted towards your overall score. The new parts are coming in with the case studies that are going to be introduced and new types of standalone questions. So that's going to be the gist of what we're going to talk about today. So with the new NCLEX, we are going to, again, have new case studies that are introduced, new types of questions that we're going to demonstrate and show you. There will be new types of standalone questions, which are not part of a case scenario. There's also the introduction of partial credit scoring for these new type of questions that they're going to be introducing. In the past, it was kind of the dichotomous. You got a point if you got it correct. You got 0 points if you got it incorrect. So these new questions have different types of scoring applied to them. So depending on how many questions that you have for your test, you'll have anywhere of 25% of your test to 19% of your test comprised of these new type of questions and case studies. So most of the test is going to remain the same as it was before. Your traditional like multiple choice, select all that apply, drop or hotspot type of items. The new type of questions we're going to show you coming up next here. So this slide right here just shows the different categories of the changes in the question. So we're going to show examples of each of these: extended multiple response, matrix grid type of questions, drag and drop, drop down boxes, highlighting of text, and standalone questions, which are going to be comprised of bow tie and trend categories.
Bow tie meaning like a bow tie?
It does kind of look like a bow tie,
not
like a tie, you know, like a bow tie. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like we're like sophisticated. Like if we were those sophisticated professors that wear like the tweed jackets with the patches on.
I feel like I want a bow tie for when we
present that. We need to. We totally need to get one.
We missed it.
We are gonna. If anybody wants to design one for us,
we'll take a bow tie.
That would be great. We would totally. We'd love to have a bow tie to wear for our future times when we're with you for our transitions.
That's right.
So
no pressure.
No pressure at all.
Really would like a bow tie.
Really, yes, exactly. We'll remind you of that as well. We'll see if we get any. Maybe not, but we'll keep hitting around with that. So. Okay, so we're going to start off with the two different type of standalone questions that are new. And, you know, it's like Jai is totally psychic here. She's like, I know that bow tie's coming up first and foremost, hot off the press.
I love me a bow tie.
Love the bow ties, man. I used to put Denver into bow ties when he was little. My youngest, who is now 13, for his school pictures,
cute in bow ties,
the bow tie. Exactly. And he was the one that used to say, for all of you that took older adults, that said, you know, that the old ladies use the wheelie things and the old men use canes, because he used to dance the cane. You're like, what are you talking about? Because of course you remember every word that I said in class. I just thought, you know, I would associate the son I'm talking about with what we're talking about now, which really is irrelevant.
Digress.
Yes.
But
okay.
I'm not going to lie. Denver looked much cuter in a bow tie than we would ever. So maybe we're going to nix the bow tie for the middle-aged woman.
Oh my gosh, maybe we'll make him wear it, but he would not, because he's 13 now, and anything that I can't say is embarrassing.
That you mentioned his name is embarrassing.
Exactly. Like, Mom, exactly.
He who should now be named.
Right. My son that should not be named. Exactly. So, but we see here, like, look, bloop bloop is the one side of the bow tie. The middle part is right here, and then the bloop bloop. Other part of it, you can see cute little bow tie image there.
Bow tie.
Exactly. So these type of questions here, again, they're standalone. They're not based on a case study. They're always going to be comprised of the same type of action. So the left-hand side, you'll have two actions to take based on the scenario that you read. You will select two of them and drag them up to one of each of the action to take categories. There will always be four or five different options to choose from. In the middle is the condition most likely experiencing. So whatever is being described, what condition is that summarizing? You'll choose that and move it up to the conditions most likely experiencing. And then the follow-up parameters to monitor based on the actions that you selected will be chose from the very right-hand column, and two of those will be moved up. So two actions to take, two parameters to monitor based off of those actions, all centralized around whatever condition is being described. Got it?
That was very good explanation.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's kind of a confusing.
It is a little bit confusing. And the more you get into them and start taking them, the easier they will be to understand. So the next type of standalone question is called our trend item. And guess what the trend item is going to entail?
I feel like it's something we tell them all the time. Look at your trends, which means look at things over a specific amount of time, whether that's, lab work for a patient over, a day or 2 days or 2 weeks, but you're trending and you're comparing at different time perspectives.
Exactly. So, perfect. Could not have said it better myself. Thank you. The trend items are going to be exactly what Di said, looking at information over a period of time and answering the questions. So those are the two new type of standalone format questions that you will see. All of the other type that you will see will somehow be integrated into a case study. We're going to look at the type of questions that can be contained in the case study, and then we'll kind of look at an example of that all together here. So moving on, these are getting into the type of questions you'll see within the case study. So the first category are multiple response type of questions. So there could be multiple response, select all that apply, similar to what we have in nursing school right now. The ones that you absolutely love. They made them for the NCLEX and put them on steroids. So we can have the basic version like we have now, We can also have ones that are called the N select all that apply, where they're kind of nice because they tell you how many to select. Like the example in the middle right here, it says select 4 findings. So that would tell you when you make your little check marks, how many are they going to have, Di?
4.
4.
Just
exactly.
4.
So it's
Yep.
like you're going to be playing golf. 4, don't even really know what that means. I just know that it goes along with that. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, that means we're going to hit you with the ball's coming at you and you better duck.
What it means? Oh, okay.
It's
Why
like,
can't they
hit the
just say,
ground,
why can't
take
you say
cover.
like duck?
Yeah,
4
right.
letters as well.
Because
like
somebody could think it's a
scram.
duck on the course.
Or
like, oh, where's a duck? Where's
hide
a duck?
or move out of the way, jerk, or something. I guess that's too many letters to say. So 4, I guess,
4 is, yeah.
gets to the point.
But at
of
least
it all.
you know, only select 4 with this one, as
Right.
opposed to you have all those other ones, and they used to limit it at you shouldn't have more than 6 in a select all, wasn't it? 5 or 6. Now it's unlimited.
Yeah.
So that one's, I think, a little more challenging than just tell me I only have to pick 4 of these.
Right. And
Yeah.
with the select all that apply, they are now making it that it could be one answer that could be correct or anywhere up to all of them. So
Wow.
they're making a little bit more tricky, fancy pants, but
That's
it's really
different, too.
raising our level of clinical judgment. Then the last type of multiple response question is the multiple response grouping, which is the question you see on the right-hand side, where it is a multiple select, but they give you different categories in which to select answers. So this particular question, you can see that the potential nursing interventions are broken down by body system, neurologic, cardiovascular, or respiratory. Yikes. Okay.
These ones, that's our dogs.
Our kids are playing today when we do recording. Molly, shh, that's my dog being the loudmouth. Anyways, now you go ahead.
Okay, these two different matrix type questions are multiple response examples and multiple choice, just set up in a table form or a matrix form. So you're going to go around and look at your assessment finding, and you're going to pick. It could be more than one of those across there. Is that correct? The multiple response one?
Yes.
Reading that right. And then the matrix multiple choice only has one that you can, and obviously because you're either going to see an improved, no change, or decline in the respective vital signs that they have in assessment findings there.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so another new type that you probably never seen before is the highlighting type of question. So there's 2 different types. There's the highlighting text option and the highlighting table option. So basically, both of these type of questions, you will read what the question is asking and you will legit highlight information within either the text that's provided or the table that's provided to answer those questions. What are the key words? What are the key sentences that of information that you would look at to determine your answer to the question that's being raised? So you can see that when you highlight it, it actually legit looks like you're using a yellow highlighter to make those words or that particular phrase or sentence stand out.
And the purpose of this is really so it's determined that you're not just guessing at the question, that you know what information you're picking out of this scenario that leads you to your answer. Right. And so it kind of takes out that aspect of let me just guess on a multiple choice and hopefully I get the right answer. So
exactly.
That's what I think the purpose of
absolutely. And looking at, what data is important, what data is not so much important, what areas are showing concern, what things are more stable. Okie dokie. So the next type of questions are our drag and drop. And we have drag and drop rationale and drag and drop close, or I'm not sure if it's close or clause. Right? I did not. I took that exactly as a snippet. I don't know. Seriously, does anybody know? Is a word that's like close with a Z? It reminds me of my sister when we were younger. She's very, very intelligent, but she was a horrible speller. So I would sit on her bed when she was like maybe in 3rd grade, and I would have been like in 8th grade and just laugh at her spelling test with all the mistakes. It kind of makes me sound like a big jerk. Let me tell you, Yeah, I guess I was mean that way, but she was the little one, and she always got weaseling out of emptying the dishwasher, and I would have to do her work, and she would always cry because she would want to watch He-Man and She-Ra.
Does that really
after
justify
school.
her not being a good speller? Does
Don't
it
be
though?
picking it out because
Does
she
it
always
though?
I wanted to watch a show.
I
And I
feel
always
bad
had to
for your
watch He-Man and
sister.
She-Ra. Stop it. Don't feel bad at her. So if any of you had Miss Peplin at Green High School for biology, you know probably that she's not the hottest speller in the world. She probably got better over time. She's very smart. She's probably smarter than I am. Not that says very much.
I
But
just want to
anyways,
use clothes and Wordle someday.
Oh
That'd be
yeah,
a good
that's what I'm
one.
going to start with. My next word
It's
is close.
close.
That's not
That's right.
very smart though, because how often is it used in Wordle? Do you guys play Wordle? You should. Di got me addicted.
It's
Anyways,
fun. Just Wordle the day, just one Wordle.
just one exactly. You don't have to get addicted to it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Help
It's
with the
either
brain.
gonna be fun or make you very angry for the day. So
Exactly.
pick your choice.
So
Some days
how
I'm very
that's
angry.
related to this is it's a type of question where you're
Again,
going to read the
digress.
question. Woohoo! You know, hopefully you're hanging in now and haven't turned us off. We haven't turned you off. Where you drag and drop the appropriate words that will complete whatever questions are being asked. Some of them actually have relationships between the answers. Like the second one, the drag and drop close or close or clause or however you pronounce it, with that funky Z in there, that's just going to annoy me until the end of
I just have to
time.
Google and see
You
if
can
that is
see
an
how that the
actual thing.
condition is, you know, that your the findings are related to a condition. So there is a interactional type of relationship between the entities.
I'm looking at the definition right now.
And look, we still have that silly clause, close, whatever you want to call it, is also an option in our drop down categories.
So here we go. Close means of or relating to, being a test of reading comprehension that involves having the person being tested supply words which have been systematically deleted from a text. Okay, so how's that
how
different?
do you pronounce it? Work on that while I explain this. Okay, so the
Okay,
drop
carry
down
on.
questions, you see that there is a little drop down box where it has select. You hit that little down arrow, and when you hit on that, it provides you with different options you can use to complete that sentence. So instead of dragging the option up, as we saw in the drag part questions that we just talked about, we use a drop down box to select the appropriate answer for the close clause,
Here we
rationale,
go.
or drop
How
down.
to say it. How to pronounce close.
You can't count on that one. Clause.
Close.
I don't.
Sound like you said close
no,
to me.
Say it again.
Close.
Oh, but you can't count on that one. I used that site. I looked at a lot of pronunciation for farm, which did not help.
It's not working. Just say
and
it.
there's seriously some not sites that you can.
Close.
Same.
Okay, well,
Same.
close.
We're gonna say close.
I almost said a bad word. Gosh darn S. Why does a Z fancy make it whatever?
Like
There's words have different
European.
meanings. No, we did that before we started.
Okay. We have way too much fun. We don't know if you're having fun, but this is very fun for us. We did do the European version.
Oh my gosh.
What are we even talking about? Okay.
You know that joke. Like
No, here.
No.
I get that.
Okay, so that ends
So
up with
painful.
the drop down type of questions. Okay, so we've covered the different type of questions we can see in the case studies.
How are they going to be graded,
That's
Carrie?
a great question. Thanks for asking, Di. So this overview slide looks at the different ways of earning credit for these new type of questions. Oh my gosh.
Could there be another delivery guy today?
There are 20 million
with
people.
us.
We are sitting right in front of the front window here.
Okay.
I think they're coming to serve you a warrant or something, because there have been people with like iPads and everything coming to the door. We're sitting right there.
The
They
FBI
see us
is
and
on
they
to
keep
me.
coming and woo. So it might just be me teaching. Our transition coming up now, but I'll miss you. I'll make you a cake with a little knife or
Get me out of
like
jail.
whatever you get with the bars. Okay, so the type of questions are going to be ones where you either earn 0 or 1 points for the responses, ones where there's a plus and minus. So if you get things right, you get a point. If you miss it, you subtract a point. And then there are types of questions that is based on the relationship of the answers that you selected. So we have an example of each one coming up in the next slides. So this first one is an example of the 0-1 scoring applied to a matrix type of question. So across each row, if you selected the right response, you would get a point. For the next row, if you selected it right, you would get a point. If you selected the next row incorrect, you get 0 points. And then you add up the number of points you got correct, and that gives you your score. So out of this one, it looks like there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options. We only got 2 points out of a possible 6 points total that we could have had. The next type of scoring is the plus minus scoring that you should be used to because it's very similar to how many of us do our select all that applies in our courses. Do you guys do the partial credit for select all in
We've
critical
done that
care?
for years, and for a long time we got a lot of pushback from other courses that said it's either wrong or not wrong, but that's not necessary. So we are so happy that the NCLEX has decided to do partial credit as well, because it kind of valadates what we've been doing for years.
So basically it says we're right. So
we always have to be right.
We don't have to be, we just like it when we are.
We sure do.
So anyway, so with these, if you get the answer correct, you will get a point. But again, if you choose incorrectly by selecting something that should have been left blank or leaving something blank that should have been selected, then you subtract a point. Then the points are added up at the end. Relax. The good news is that you can't fall below a score of 0. So let's say you just bomb it and you get all 8 of these aspects incorrect. That's okay. You would still just end at a 0 and not a -8 and be behind like 7 questions or whatnot. So the lowest score for the plus minus is 0 points, and then maximum would be as many as you get correct. Then the last part of scoring is going to be the rational scoring rule. And this is where the answers are interdependent upon another. If you have like a drop-down question that has 2 parts to it, if you get both of the parts correct, you will get the point. If you get one of them correct and the other incorrect, you will get 0 points. So it's based on the relationship between the 2 answers.
So this one would have been both correct if we would have specified that a subdural hematoma, for example, is the blood between the dura mater and the arachnoid layer of the meninges. That's what they were looking for, so that you can make that relationship there, that that you know what a subdural hematoma is. And again, it's not just a guessing, but you're backing up your findings, you know, identifying that your knowledge content is solid.
Right. You know what it is and know what it means.
Exactly.
Okay. So this is, as I mentioned before, the slide that I was going to remove because we had it earlier. So, but again, just reminding you of the different types of new questions that we have as we move our way into looking at the case study. So the case study is a way that the NCSBN said, hey, we can really look and measure clinical judgment by using unfolding case studies. So that's what we're getting at with when we look at the case studies and its associated questions. The good news is with every single case study, you know you're going to get 6 questions related to that case study. And they're always going to go asking kind of the same type of questions in the same order. So after you have the case study, you'll get a question that starts with recognizing cues. The second question will be analyzing cues, and so on and so forth. So we'll go through and show you a couple examples of what these questions look like. So you'll be presented with a case first, and then you'll answer 6 questions.
And this kind of follows that clinical judgment or your thinking pattern that you should have that we always talk about. It's the same in nursing school, whether you call it a clinical judgment model, whether you
critical thinking.
It's, you know, first of all, you have to recognize, then you have to analyze, and then you prioritize, you generate some solutions, and then you move on, and then evaluation is last. So the case study is going to be the beginning of this, and then they're going to incorporate all these different types of questions throughout this thread.
Absolutely. So the first question after you read the case study is going to look at recognizing cues within that case. So basically what matters most from the information that you read. So the type of question can be any of those that we just talked about besides the bow tie or the trend. It could be a select all that apply. It can be one of those close with a Z. It can be one of the drop downs, any of those. So the type of question, the format of the question doesn't matter, but the meat of the question, what it's going to ask is what information matters most between the case study that we just read. What's going to be our second type of question, Di?
To analyze the cues. And again, it's what does that mean? What could it mean? And the format of the question could be anything. And here they put it in a matrix form, but it could be any one of those alternate forms of questions. It's not going to follow that same pattern, but it's always going to follow that same continuum as that real pretty rainbow.
The clinical judgment model.
The clinical judgment model, critical thinking model, whatever you want to call it, but it's going to follow that clinical judgment model always.
Exactly. So, and this is something on this slide that you can see here. You can see that in this matrix grid that the answer rows have boxes under each of the conditions rather than circles. The boxes mean that it is a multiple select type of matrix question. So for each of the clinical findings, it could apply to one or more of the conditions. If it had a circle, it would mean that it could only apply to one of the conditions. The third type of question you will have after you read the case study is the prioritizing hypothesis question. So basically, like, where do I start with this information?
Thank God you said that word.
I almost did it. Everything, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got to start prepping for farm already. Just saying words and stuff is not my forte. So third type of question, where do I start prioritizing hypothesis?
Next, we're going to generate solutions. Means now that I have a hypothesis, what am I going to do? So again, it can be any form of questions. In this situation, we have some possible interventions that are going to be listed, and you pick either it's going to be indicated or contraindicated. So it's going to be one or the other. There's not a possibility to pick both of those.
Exactly. So this is the matrix grid. That is the multiple choice. Again, multiple choice because you can see it's a circle. So the intervention obviously is either going to be indicated or contraindicated. It's not going to be both indicated or contraindicated and contraindicated. It's one or the other. So the next one is where we take action. So, okay, based on where I'm at now, what will I do with this information? How will I act? And so the type of question that is shown here as an example is the highlighting. So it would have text, and then we would highlight the orders that we would want to perform, what would be the most priority to do.
And then the last is going to be to evaluate the outcomes. Did it help? So in these assessment findings here in this grid pattern, you're going to be able to pick just one in each row, again, because it has the circle. So it's either going to improve the patient status, there's going to be no change in the patient status, or the patient status declined in whatever assessment finding that is listed there.
Exactly. So hopefully this little tutorial, as our dogs are barking and one of them sounds like might be choking on something, is to at least familiarizing yourself. Hello, guys.
Oh, hi, Mike.
They came for the end. You guys want to say woof, woof, like good job, guys?
Yeah.
They're looking at me like, you're
they
a moron. No, we're like, we're camera shy. You know, they're good. They'd be good for blood tests. You know why?
Why?
Because they're kind of like a lab. Similar to a lab.
Oh.
You know.
Cha-ching!
But,
I love it. That was
the CAT scans.
They would, and they just keep coming.
That's all I got.
Oh, but those are so good.
Oh, I tell
you.
Anyway.
How does that brain work?
It's just.
It's not snapping for me today.
No, there's any random thought just comes out of the mouth and keeps on trucking. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully it gets you really excited for our transition and all the fun we're going to have there.
Hopefully it was helpful.
Hopefully it was helpful. That's a key element as well. So again, hope this helped. Again, hope maybe we see some ideas for bow ties. Anything else we hope for?
Lots of things, but we don't have time to
peace
list it
on
all
earth,
of it.
goodwill towards men.
Yeah, we're
and
peace.
World peace. Bye, everyone.
Take care.